So we just learned what angles of elevation and depression are. So now let's make sure we can identify those in, for example, this picture right here. So part A asks us to identify angle 2 as an angle of elevation or an angle of depression. Do the same for angle 3 and then just explain our reasoning. So if I look at the picture, here's angle 2 right here. So what's happening is you've got this little person here standing on the observation deck. There is a horizontal line coming from the person on the observation deck, and I can see a line of sight. They are looking at this person up here at the restaurant. So is angle 2 an angle of elevation or an angle of depression? So to see the person above, I'll underline above, the person on the observation deck is looking up from the horizontal. So this is an example of an angle of elevation. So here's that horizontal. You can see the person is looking up here. So angle 2 is formed by a horizontal line and a line above it that is an elevation. All right, so angle 3. Same idea. Let's go ahead and look at the picture and see where angle 3 is. Here's angle 3. We've got our person who's got this horizontal line, and this is a line of sight. They're looking down here to someone standing on the ground. So would this be considered an angle of elevation or an angle of depression? And you might be like, yeah, I get it. I know what it is, but it's nice to have this written out in a sentence so that when you go back to look at your notes, this is still a good resource and you can understand why you came up with the answer you did. And it does ask us to explain our reasoning. So that's why we are writing out a sentence for our answer. Okay, so to see the person below, the person on the observation deck is looking down from the horizontal. That is why it is an angle of depression. And again, if we look at the picture, here's the person on the observation deck. Here's the horizontal line. They're looking down. So the angle formed by a horizontal line and a line below it is an angle of depression. It depresses down. All right, so part B, how does the angle of depression, angle 1, compare with the angle of elevation, angle 2? So if we look at the picture, we have this horizontal line. I'm just going to redraw the part of the picture we need. We have that horizontal line, and then we have that, and angle 1 is up here. So it's an angle of depression. Angle 1 is formed by a horizontal line and a line below it, so it depresses down, angle of depression. Angle 2 is formed by a horizontal line and a line above it. It elevates, so that's an angle of elevation. So how do these two angles compare? Well, because both angles are formed by a horizontal line and another line, we are going to say, hey, you know what? Those horizontal lines are parallel. And we know some things about parallel lines. When you have parallel lines cut by a transversal, so this line right here, this segment that is forming the other half of angle 2 and the other half of angle 1, that is a transversal. So when you have parallel lines cut by a transversal, angle 1 is going to be congruent to angle 2, and that's because they are alternate interior angles.